So yesterday we walked through Kubernetes theory part. So today we will uh, go through the hands-on or the lab section. Okay. Uh, I mean how to set up, how to set up Kubernetes from scratch. Okay, scratch. Um, so there are some criteria. Okay, for example, we need to deploy a application. We need to deploy a application. So we can choose any of the infrastructure, like we can choose virtual machine or Docker or Kubernetes. In previous two scenario, we already completed. I mean, earlier sections or our past sections, we deploy application to these two environment. So the left of thing is Kubernetes. Okay, so we can utilize the Kubernetes infrastructure to deploy application. So that this is a requirement. So fulfilling this requirement, we need to create a Kubernetes cluster, right? So after that, we can deploy application to Kubernetes. So coming to Kubernetes, there are two types or three types of Kubernetes services are there. Okay, one is managed Kubernetes. Managed Kubernetes. Managed Kubernetes means managed by cloud provider. Okay, so we can go with any cloud provider like Azure, AWS, or GCP. And managed Kubernetes services have their own name. So coming to Azure, the name is AKS, Azure Kubernetes Service. Then AWS, the name is, these are service names, okay, that's under each cloud provider. Um, Coming to AWS, the name is EKS, Elastic Kubernetes Services. So coming to GCP, Google Cloud Compute, GKE, Google Kubernetes Engine. So these are the commonly managed Kubernetes services, and most of the cases when coming to organization or CI/CD, we will choose any of these. We will choose any of these managed services. Okay, managed Kubernetes. So coming to managed Kubernetes, we didn't bother about too much about the Kubernetes services. Okay, so it's fully managed by the cloud provider. It's simply process to configuring the managed Kubernetes. So we didn't bother about too much. Okay, like the backend process or the creating master part, we didn't do anything. Uh, that managed. I mean, this is, for example, if we choose any EKS or AKS, we will get everything. Okay. Then the next service is sorry, uh, and this is manager. Okay, so we need to go with our own Kubernetes service. I mean, we need to build our own service. Then we can go self-hosted Kubernetes services. We called Kubernetes as K8s. Okay, we can type as K8s. This means Kubernetes. Before K and S, okay, there is 8 letter, that is Kubernetes. So self-hosted means we need to configure everything. Okay. Coming to self-hosted. So we need to set up the master part, worker part. Then we need to load balancing. When coming to manage Kubernetes service, these services handle these things. Okay, like even the load balancer they will create. We didn't bother about anything. So coming to self-hosted, that means we need to set up the Kubernetes from scratch with our own environment. So for example, we can set up the Kubernetes in cloud machines, okay, like EC2 machines or on-premise machines. On-prem machines, we can set up the self-hosted Kubernetes cluster, okay. Then for test purpose, okay, like these are the Kubernetes is a fully functional Kubernetes services. But for test purposing, just running some application, we can go with the one simple service called Minikube. This is a very small version of Kubernetes that we can run with a within a single running machine or single EC2 machine, and we can utilize the same Kubernetes features within the environment. So we can run application, we can test application, everything in Kubernetes. But this is not recommended for deploying production level application. So coming to production level application, we need to choose self-hosted or managed. So managed Kubernetes service is compared with the self-hosted, it's cost, okay, costier, because this will we need to pay more. So coming to self-hosted, it's just we need to pay for the EC2, which EC2 that we use, okay. So these are the Kubernetes services that we can follow with the corresponding scenarios. So in today's lab, I will showcase you how to deploy or how to configure a Kubernetes service within AWS account. So we can go with the EKS. That means managed service. Okay, EKS means it's fully managed by AWS. So we can quickly create EKS. So anyone have any doubt? So this is the dashboard. So we can type the services, okay, EKS. Different coming to manage services, we can go with it two different way. One is we can utilize the command line interface to configuring that EKS, or we can go to the graphical interface. Okay, just type EKS and select the service EKS. So we can go with the providing the configuration details, everything. But it's very simple if you go with the like the command lines. Okay, so we using a single command we can run the application. I mean, run the Kubernetes cluster. So I will go with the command lines. Okay, so when we go with the command lines, we need a running machines that belongs to the local machine. Okay, for example, I can utilize this laptop. Okay, my local laptop to uh, configuring the Kubernetes services. That means EKS. So that means I will show the workflow. Okay, so this is a cloud environment. So I'm not sharing. Yes, so this is the AWS account. Consider AWS. Here one service called EKS. So we need to configure EKS. Simple way means like using the dashboard. Okay, I mean using this AWS account, we need to log into the AWS account, then go to the EKS service. Then we can go with providing the details of in the in the dashboard. Okay, for the landing page of EKS. So we need to provide the name, mission type, everything we need to provide, and we can click create. That will create EKS cluster, or else we can configure the same thing using command line. So that we need, this is my local machine. Okay, the local laptop. So in my local laptop, I need to install. First, I need to create a service connection between my laptop and with my AWS account. So that what we will do, we need to install AWS CLI, right? In my local machine. In install AWS CLI. After that, what we will do? We need to provide the access key and secret key. That means coming to AWS account, we need to create a user under the IAM, okay? IAM service. Under IAM service, we need to create a user and we need to provide the user with the corresponding privilege to manage AWS resources. Okay. In this case, we going to manage or creating AWS EKS resources. So we need to create a user like Tom and provide the necessary permission to Tom. And coming to the Tom profile, we can create access key and secret key. So we can download both thing and go to our local machine. So this is our laptop or desktop where we work. And first we need to install the AWS CLI. Then we need to provide the access key and secret key to authenticate or to create a connection between our local machine and the our own AWS account. So there is a connection between after providing these things. Okay. Then we can utilize some other command line tools. That is for EKS configuration, we can install one more tool like EKSCTL. This is another command line tool to manage this service within AWS account. That means the EK service. So this is a command line tool. Okay. So two things we need to install. One is AWS CLI and EKCTL. EKSCTL. Okay. Second command line tool. Then after configuring the EKS, okay. So after configuring EKS, we will get actual Kubernetes service. This is just a name, like coming to each cloud provider, EKS, AKS, and GK. But finally, we will get the same Kubernetes service. Okay. So we need to manage the Kubernetes service using a command line tool called kubectl. So this is another command line tool to manage and administering the Kubernetes service. So we need to install these kubectl within our local machine. So the next thing is kubectl. So EKCTL for like creating the EKS service within the AWS account. So managing Kubernetes, that is kubectl. Then AWS CLI for connection, creating a service connection between or creating a connection between our local machine and AWS account. Okay. Anyone have a doubt? So, so in this example, I didn't go with my local laptop. For for local laptop, I just create a virtual machine. Okay, within the AWS account, and I will perform the same activity from this VM to that EK service. Okay, so I'm just configuring one service, launching one machine. Because my machine have some privilege issue installing third-party application. Hmm. So I quickly launch one machine. Okay, so I'm loading to the machine. Logging to machine. Successfully login. Codes. So first, I'm going to install EKCTL. Okay. So some commands are there. So I download the EKCTL from the GitHub repository and successfully move some location to the specified location, from this location to this location. Okay. So successfully installed that EKS version. So here we can see the version 0.190.0. So EKCTL is actually installed. Then next thing is we need to install kubectl. So same way I need to download the kubectl package from this repository. See, it's the package belongs to some S3 location. So that is done. So this is a change modification. Giving the executable permission to the this directory. Okay, where the kubectl belongs. Then we can check with the version. kubectl is also kubectl install successfully. See the client version v1.22.6 EKS. So kubectl is successfully installed. So I didn't install AWS CLI because for this mission we can add some permission, okay? Because I didn't use local mission. If we are using local mission, then we need to install AWS CLI. So coming section, I will show you how to install AWS CLI in our local mission and perform similar activities, okay? So here the things are done. So now we need to go to IAM. IAM. You need to create one role there, okay? So creation of users, roles, permissions, all things under identity and access management. Okay, so we need to go to that service IAM. So here left side we can see the user. For example, we need to create a user in our account. Okay, so what we'll do, click user and create a user, and here we can provide the name and set the permission. So that means the user, for example, some users are there, so they're just monitoring our account. So we can provide similar permission to monitoring and not giving any permission to creating any resources within the account. So we can controlling the users, giving the appropriate permissions, okay, when we creating users. So now I didn't go to create any user. So now I need to go to create a role. So I hope yes, some roles already I created. Okay, so here you can see EKS admin. This is a role that is created for accessing or managing one service within the AWS account to another service. Okay, for example, I will show you. So here what we are going to do, like in our case we have one easy to we configure on EC2 machines. Okay, configure on EC2 machine, EC2. So using the EC2, we are going to create another service in AWS account. EC2 is actually a service, right? A service in AWS account. So now we are going to create another service, that is EKS. So that we need to create a role and provide the necessary permission to the role. After that, we will attach the role to the EC2 machines. So the EC2 machine have the privilege to create some other resources within the AWS account. So in this case, we are going to create a EKS. So here you can see I already created a role here, that is EKS admin. So click on that. So EKS admin is created. Okay, so under the EKS admin, see the permissions. Okay, what are the permissions that we are already attached to this role? So here you can see administrator access and EKS cluster policy, then Amazon EKS worker node policy. These are the three policies that we attach or that I attach to the EKS admin role. After that, we can create the role. Okay, so I will show you how to create one role from scratch. So click on create role and choose the AWS service. Then the use case. We need to provide the use case as EC2 because we are going to adding this role to EC2. Click next. Here we can providing the necessary permission. So see administrator access. That means full access to that machine. Okay. Then we can type EKS. So here we can see EKS cluster policy, then EKS worker node policy, then choose the necessary policy. Okay, I think these two things that we need to create EKS cluster. So we can go with the next. Then we need to provide some name for our role. Then create role. That's fine. So I'm not creating anything because in my case there is a role there. So this is my role, EKS role. So next what we will do, just to go to the machine, okay. So we created the role, but we didn't attach that role to our EC2 machine. So go to the EC2 machine dashboard, EC2. So click on the instances. So selecting the machine, this is a machine, and go to action, security, modify IAM role. See here we attaching roles, okay. So drop down. So in my case, I think that is EKS admin, okay. So I'm choosing the uh, roles that we create, okay. All roles here listed, okay. Just refresh and choose the role that you created and update IAM role. That's fine. So the role is attached to that specific EC2 machine. So then go back to EKS, I mean our machine. Then then we can deploy the EKS, okay, using command line. So this is the command to deploy, I mean to configuring or to installing a Kubernetes service. Yes,
Sir, from where we can copy paste this command line?
this is a EKCTL command line. I will explain the command line first. Then I will share the
Yeah,
command.
sure. Sure.
So this is the command line tool. Okay, we are using in this case our command line tool to interact or to manage the EKS service. Okay, within our AWS account, we are using a command line tool EKS CTL. We already installed the EKS CTL in this machine. Okay, if we perform the same activity within our local machine, we need to install the same in our local machine. So now we are talking to the EKCTL command line tool, that is EKCTL, please create a cluster. That means create cluster. Okay. So we need to provide the name for the cluster, that is dash dash name. The name is test EKS. Any name we can give. Okay. In my case, I am using the test EKS. That's the name. Then we need to provide the region where which location or which region that we going to deploy our EKS. That is dash dash region. So we need to specify the region. So in my case, I am going with the US East one. Okay, that's fine. Then next scenario is dash dash node group name. So we need to provide a node group name. That means coming to Kubernetes, yesterday we discussed like master part and worker part, right? So the worker part belongs or worker part contains a number of EC2 machines. Okay. So in this case, we are grouping that machines. So we call it as node group. So we need to provide that group a name. So in this case, I am providing a name, my nodes. Any name we can provide. Okay. Then dash dash node type. So I told you that the nodes, each nodes are a EC2 machines, right? So we need to specify the resource or the configuration of that machine. Okay. In this case, I am going with the T3 small. That is a minimal machines. Okay. So if you need more resources like T2 large or any as per the requirement, we can choose any resource type. I mean any configuration, mission configuration. Okay. Then dash dash manage. That means this is managed by AWS. Then dash dash node. So we need to provide how many node we need to configure within the AWS EK service. In this case, I provide two. That means after entering this, what will happen? The EKCTL tool go to the service EKs and it will create a Kubernetes cluster with the name test EKs with the region USC is to one, and the node group name is my node. Then the mission that creating under the Kubernetes type is T3 small and number of mission that we will get 2. So it will create a Kubernetes cluster with the 2 working node. Got it? Okay, so I'm just hit enter. See here, it will creating Kubernetes cluster. So it will take 20 minutes, I think, to create the entire cluster. Mhm. Okay, here the issue is, see here, um, create failed. Resource handler return message, maximum number of VPC has been reached. When coming to a single AWS account, only 5 VPC that we can create. Okay, that's the maximum. So what we'll do, we need to go to the VPC and we should remove at least one VPC there. Because when we creating a EKS, I mean, managed Kubernetes service, so it will create a VPC for the EKS. Okay, it's on network like. So here you can see total is for 5. So I'm going to create my VPC. So I'm going to delete. It's fine. Then go again and use the same command. Cloud stack, the response, EKS tells already exit. Okay. You can go with some other name. Okay. So in this case, I'm using test EKS. So I'm changing to EKS or EKS 1. Give me a second. I will back. Okay. Yeah. So it creating actually. So these are the logs, live logs we will get. So anyone have any doubt? So meantime, we can discuss on any doubt or it will take roughly around 15 to 20 minutes. All are good, right?
So what is the dash dash like manager?
Dash dash manage means it's managed service. The E case, this is managed Kubernetes service. That it means dash dash managed. Managed by the cloud provider.
So what if we don't give the dash dash managed command?
Sorry, come again.
What if we don't give the dash dash managed command?
Uh, if we didn't provide that dash manage, it will run. I mean, we will get the Kubernetes cluster actually. So that means it like for example, it's indicate okay that dash dash manage indicates that the nodes are managed. Got it? For example, it's referring to the AWS managed node group in EKS, where we or where the AWS handle the life cycle of EC2 instances. So that it means dash dash manage. It's a indication that the nodes are managed. Then the dash dash node two, that is specifies the number of nodes to launch. In this case, it is two node. So after deploying or in that command, uh, that command will create a EKS cluster with two managed T3 small node. Got it?
Yeah.
Sir, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, sir, I have one question related to the interview questions. If you have any document which has all the frequently asked questions in the interview, then please share. Do you have that kind of document?
Yes, yes, I will share. I will share.
Yeah, so that with the topic, we can, go through those topics ourselves as well, if needed.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
So
Okay.
coming to Kubernetes, the main question they will ask like the architecture, then the components within the Kubernetes. So yesterday we'll go through each things. Then these are the things. Okay, the first level. I mean, the first question that they will ask coming to the Kubernetes specific area.
So it will create the worker nodes only or master nodes also?
Both, because we are going with this like managed Kubernetes service. That is, we are now provisioning EKS. Okay, so we didn't bother about anything. Using this command, we will get a entire Kubernetes cluster with two working node and a master node.
Okay.
Otherwise, we need to set up the master part into configure, or we need to install the specific components within the master part. After that, we need to select some other machines. Okay, we need to configure 2 3 machines as per the requirement, and we need to install some agents. And after that, we need to join that machine to the master part. So there is a lot of work when we going with the self-hosted Kubernetes service. So coming lab, I will show you how to create a self-hosted Kubernetes cluster using 1 or 2 or 3 machines. Okay. You can see the screen. It's sexually created. I mean, it's on last stage. Okay. Yes, see, everything is created. EKS cluster, EKS 1, that's the name. In the region, we specify the use east 1, region is ready. So now we can work with Kubernetes. So for that, we need to install the Kubernetes command line tool. I already installed the kubectl command line tool, so we can check with the kubectl. Okay. So now we are going to manage or checking our Kubernetes cluster. Okay. So I need to check how many working nodes are there. Kubectl get. This is a kubectl command line. Okay. So we are talking with the kubectl command line. Please getting the number of working nodes within our Kubernetes cluster. So kubectl get node. So it will list how many nodes that working. Okay. So in our case, we are deployed 2 node. So these are the 2 working node for the worker nodes in our Kubernetes cluster. Got it. So if we deploying any application to this Kubernetes cluster, so it will create the pod, or the application YAML file will create the pod and the container. As of now, there is no pod. We can check with the same command kubectl get. Above we check the node count. Okay, in this case we can check with the pod. See, no pod found in default namespace. So coming to the namespace, so what is namespace? Namespace is a logical segregation of workspace, okay, within the Kubernetes cluster. Because, for example, if we have 3 clients, okay, so for 3 clients, we need to isolate their application deployment, okay, within a single Kubernetes cluster. So what we'll do, we need to create 3 namespace within the same Kubernetes cluster, and we can mention the specified resources or the client resources to the corresponding namespace. So that way we are grouping or segregating different client details with the different namespace. So there is a default namespace when you're creating a Kubernetes. So if we didn't create any namespace or we didn't mention any namespace, each application will under the default namespace. So when I checking the running pod using kubectl command, that will checking the default namespace and didn't get anything. That means we didn't deployed anything in this Kubernetes cluster. So how to deploy application to Kubernetes cluster? We need to create a YAML file, right? So in the local machine directory, we need to create a YAML file. So I am going to create one nano deployment. Any name we can provide. Okay, deployment dot YAML. The extension should be YAML. Okay, so hit enter, and there is a structure for YAML file. Okay, YAML file is a human readable file. So I have one sample YAML file to deploy some application. See, this is a sample YAML file for deploying application. So here you can see the API version, that is app v1. So the coming to the kind, the deployment. There are different types of kind.
Sir, sorry to interrupt you. Where can I find this YAML file? Copy paste.
Actually, this is not copy pasting. As per the requirement, we need to create the YAML file, or else some templates are there. So we choose the template and we need to provide the necessary information. Template means
Okay.
the API version. So that's the template. Okay. So
Okay.
coming to this variable, we need to provide the detail application.
Okay.
So coming to kind, we need to provide which type of client we going to deploy. So different kinds are there. The deployment is one of the kind. Then pod is another kind. Service is another kind. So there are different types of kinds are there. So we need to provide as per the requirement.
Okay,
Then,
sir.
then coming to metadata. Coming to metadata, we need to provide the name for our deployment. So in this case, under metadata, the name we specify Angular app. Okay, so I'm changing the Angular app. because this is not Angular. So I'm changing to my first app. Okay. So the deploy name is my first app. Then under spec, you can see the replicas. The replicas means the identical instances of same application. So in this case, if I deploy this YAML file, the Kubernetes will create three replicas. I mean, three identical instance of this application. That means it will create three pod with three container. You got it. So as per the requirement, we can choose the how many replicas of application that we need. Because if one replica is down, we didn't bother about our application, because say my application running in another two replicas of the, I mean, two other containers. Got it. So coming to the selector match label, we didn't provide anything. Then coming to match label, anchor wrap. So I'm changing to my first application. Then this specification, okay, see, container specification, we need to provide the container name. So here the container name, I'm going to change to my first application, my first app. And we need to provide the image name, okay? So in this case, I have one image that is belongs to my Docker Hub. So I am using the image. This is my repository, username, and this is my image name, okay? And the port, we need to mention the container port. We need to expose the container port. Here you can see the container port is 80. So everything is fine. We can save the file. Control X, Y, hit enter. So you can see a sample file has been created, that is deployment.yaml. So we need to push this file from this local machine to the Kubernetes cluster using kubectl command. Okay. So what we'll do, there is a command kubectl apply. Apply what? Apply the deployment.yaml file. So -f, that is for specifying the file name. So we need to specify the file name, deployment .yaml. So this, whenever we, I mean, after hit enter, what will happen? The kubectl command line tool applying this deployment.yaml file to the Kubernetes cluster. Okay, that means it will send the file to the API server, and it will, I mean, the API server taking the file and sending to the other components like etcd, saving the details of the, I mean, the YAML file, then go to the scheduler controller, then it goes to the scheduler to scheduling our required application ports. So it will, the scheduler will sending, I mean, selecting the healthy machines. I mean, in our case, there is two worker nodes are there. So the scheduler sending to the corresponding worker node. See, you can see here the deployment.apps, my first application created. So now I'm going to check the pod again. Okay. kubectl get pod. See, three replicas are created. That means three pods ready. That means one by one means this is pod actually. Inside the pod, there is one content, right? So that is one by one is ready and the status is running. So we created the application YAML file and we pushed the application to the Kubernetes cluster, and the Kubernetes cluster will create, already created 3 pod with the 3 containers. So how to expose this application? Because these running pods and containers that's inside the Kubernetes cluster. So for someone needs to access, you or me or anyone, okay, via internet. So how we need to expose the application? So coming to Kubernetes, we need to expose application using services, okay. So there are different types of services there in Kubernetes. So in this case, we can go with this one service called load balancer, okay. So we need to create a service YAML for the same. So I'm going to create a service file, nano service.yaml. So this is the service YAML file. So again, we need to mention the version, API version, that is v1. And here you can see the kind type, that is service. So above, for the deployment, we provide the deployment. Service is deployment. And coming to the metadata, we need to provide the name, Angular app service. Then the type. I told you different types of services are there in Kubernetes. In this case, I am choosing a load balancer. The other services like cluster IP, node port, these are the common services that we use under the service YAML. So in this case, we specify load balancer. So what will happen? Whenever we are running this service YAML file, the AWS will automatically, or AWS will provisioning a load balancer, and it will give a URL to accessing the application. Got it? So here I am going to change something like this is specified for the Angular application. So in my case, our application name is changed. So I'm changing the service name to my first app service. So this is a service name only, okay. And here you can see, because I will tell you. So coming to Kubernetes, okay, K8s, to deploy application, okay, application deployment. So first we need to create a YAML file and provide all the necessary things, the image name, the image, which image that we are going to use, and which port we are going to expose. Everything we need to mention. Image, name, port, okay. Everything we listed, okay. After that, we will deploy the YAML file, okay, like app.yaml. This is the YAML file name. So we will apply the YAML, apply using kubectl apply. This YAML will create the pods. Okay. So the pod that is running fine within Kubernetes cluster. So next thing is we need to expose, sometimes we need to expose the application, right? So we need to expose some application. We need to create a service YAML file, service.yaml. And we provide the necessary things there. So here, sorry. So here you can see this is our first deployment and the service is our second deployment. Okay. Same, we use the kubectl apply command. So there is a connection. Okay. For example, in same Kubernetes service, we have some other application to just consider. Like we have application B there, application B.yaml, application C.yaml. There are a lot of services or a lot of application we can deploy to the same Kubernetes cluster. And for the same, each services, each application, we need to create separate service YAML file as well, right? So how this service file identify the corresponding application? So that we will provide in that service.yaml file. So I will show you. So in this case, we already running the pods and everything. So here you can see the selector. This is a service.yaml. Okay. So under the selector, that means we need to provide the application name. In our case, we have one application name. We are running one application that is the deployed application before. My first app. This is a name, right? I think this is a name. So what will happen? This service knows when applying this service knows this service is specified for that my first application. Got it? You got the point, all of you. So I am just to save and exit. Cat. Just verifying this application name. Deployment.yaml. My first app. That's the name. My first app. My first app. Okay, both are fine. See, here the app name is my first app. So coming to the service, okay, this is service YAML. So here we need to, under the selector, we need to mention the corresponding application name, my first app. So the Kubernetes know this service file for the specific above application. Got it. So I'm going to apply kubectl. Apply only the service. Okay. So we can mention the flag -f service.yaml. So this will create a service. So see service, my first app service created. So we can check the service, okay, running service using kubectl command, kubectl get service or SVC. See, this is a default service whenever we creating the Kubernetes. So this service we created, okay, my first service. So here you can see the type. For our service, the type is load balancer. For Kubernetes, the type is cluster IP. So our service is load balancer, so that we will get a external URL to accessing our application. So just to copy the external thing and paste it somewhere and hit enter. It will take some time to, back in the load balancer will configuring. Okay, so that is managed by AWS. We didn't bother about. If we go with the managed one, sorry, self-hosted Kubernetes, then we need to go to configure everything. I pasted the URL to the chat. Can anyone check?
It's working for me.
It's loaded, right?
Yeah, it's like some Netflix version game.
Yes, it's a clone Netflix application actually. But for me, it's not loading. Maybe it's not secure or like that.
So are you getting actual Netflix or is this
No,
some
no,
other?
no, 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 no. It's just a interface only.
Okay.
Can you share the screen?
Yeah. You'd have to stop sharing before I can share.
Mm-hmm.
Can you see?
Yes, yes. So this is the application that we deployed.
Should I stop share?
Yes, yes.
So
Okay. Yeah.
this reminded me of something in the US. There's this thing called IPTV.
Uh-huh.
So you get the channels from all over the world. It's a bootleg basically, but for like not a lot of money. Yeah, you get to give the MAC address of that device, and you can take it anywhere. And they, for like maybe $200 a year, they give you all the channels in the world. So I wonder how they got them, right? So
Uh-huh.
your simple little application here fooled me that it looked like real Netflix. Of course, if I click something, it won't work or something.
It won't work for me actually. I think due to some permission issue, anything like that.
Yeah, use your corporate laptop. That's why.
Yes, yes.
Corporate firewall.
No, no. I think it works. Yes. Is any other one check the same URL? Anyone?
Yeah, I did check that. It's working for me.
Okay, okay, okay. So anyone have any doubt?
No doubt.
Okay. So I will share my screen. Whenever you touch with the AWS EKS managed EKS after the lab, please stop or please terminate the application. I mean the Kubernetes service. Okay. So here you can see duplicate. Just to go to the EKS dashboard, you can see our running cluster. Okay, everything is listed here. So this is a cluster, and under the cluster, like the coming to compute, you can see the working node. See, node is 2. So everything is listed here. So we need to remove or terminate the entire cluster from the command line as well. That's a QQA. So using the same command line, EKSCTL delete. Instead of create, we need to provide a delete cluster, then the cluster name. So my cluster name is like EKS1. Then the region US East 1. This is fine. So it will deleting the entire Kubernetes cluster. So we didn't bother about anything. So after this, just check, go to the cluster here. So here it will remove. First, it will deleting the like the last thing. Okay, like removing the running machines or the nodes. After deleting the node group, it will be deleting the cluster. It's a step-by-step process. It will take around 10 to 15 minutes to deleting entire cluster. Got it, all of you. So make sure after the creation of EKS, please delete. So after this section, I will give the one task to create this Kubernetes cluster, self-hosted, sorry, a managed Kubernetes cluster in AWS, that is EKS. So I will provide the command too. So I will provide the YAML files also. So you can go to provisioning the EKS cluster and deploy application. Okay, is that fine, all of you?
Yes,
Yes.
sir. Can you provide a command line also?
Yes, yes, I will share.
Yeah, sure.
Then anyone have any doubt?
No.
Okay, then we can wind up, right?
Sure.
Yes.
Okay then.
Have a good night, everybody. Good morning, Taufik sir.
Bye
Thank
bye.
you for the class. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye all. Bye all.
Bye.